So, I want to bring attention to, something that happens more often, doesn't get enough attention, an issue that exists in this world. Everybody wants to bring up, race equality and, the gender gap in wage. I want to bring up something important to me. Why is it that if you like Pokemon, Mario, and Zelda, there's no way you can like rap too? Upsets me. Every time I'm having a conversation about rap to somebody, they look at my Pokemon tattoo, they're like, "You don't really like rap? You're a fake." And I'm like, "No, I really do. It's possible in this world to like hip hop and nerdy things."
They all probably just think you like the most popular rappers.
It's tough, but that's what we listen to. Oh, and also it's time for the enthusiast.
Yes! Oh my god!
What is up, everybody? I'm one of your hosts of The Enthusiast, Justin Nazario. Next to me is man that mispronounces his name on this podcast twice.
Did
Go
I
ahead and
really?
introduce yourself, sir.
Will Zabo.
Oh,
Did
got
I,
it right
did I
this
really
time.
say it wrong a second time?
Yeah, second time.
That's upsetting.
Isn't it? So is my chair breaking over here.
Time to go back to the old rocker.
I know, I hate it. Told you shouldn't have had that Burger King. Right there. Just boom. Boom.
Instead of popping your waistband, breaking chair.
Breaking my new chair I really liked.
That's a little more upsetting than popping your waistband.
It's fine. You know that little the springy chair we have up there that's made with like a bunch of ropes intertwined?
Yeah.
I climbed in that bad boy yesterday to play the NNES, and it didn't break, but the strings like touched the floor. Like I completely went into the chair. Like it ate me. Like the giant plant from Little Shop of Horror. Like it was awful.
You mean the penis flytrap?
Yeah, the penis flytrap. That's how you pronounce it, penis flytrap. So, that wasn't a joke earlier. It really does happen to me all the time. Like, people really just assume, like, you know me. I'm a simple man, but I do like hip-hop over other styles of music. I know you like pretty much everything, But people really get upset with me when they find out that I like hip-hop and really nerdy things.
I know what you mean, man. When I say I like rap or hip-hop, people look at me like you're white.
And you're not even white.
No, I'm not. Not 100% at least, but...
It really does mind boggle people, So, but hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. So how was your week? What'd you do? Anything fun?
Oh, you want to talk about my week?
Yeah.
My week was indescribable.
Really?
How was your week? No, I'm joking. It was pretty good. Worked, played some games. Getting super excited for Battle Chasers that comes out on Tuesday. So I'm really pumped for that. I was doing like the beta Let's Play.
I saw a lot of people watching that too, man.
Yeah, the game's getting.
You guys don't want to watch our podcast, but you're watching those Let's Plays, that's for sure.
I think I stopped because the game is so close to release. Rather than redo the same content, I'm just gonna start fresh with the Let's Plays from the actual game once that's released.
I can understand that.
Other than that, I kind of hit this point where Metroid, I don't really want to play it anymore. I picked up my 3DS the other day, but instead of playing Metroid, I went back to Dragon Quest.
Okay.
And I don't know. I love Metroid is great. Samus Returns is a really good game. I just find the lack of story still. And it's not that there is no story. There is one. It's just not very good in my opinion. It's very bare bones. It's kind of like a skeleton that they just didn't want to put any meat on it.
Delicious.
But I don't know. I just kind of find myself wanting to play other things that give me a little more.
It's not that I'm not interested in playing Metroid games. I've always gotten really stuck in because I've never been good with like simple puzzles in games.
Okay.
Over complex ones, I can figure out. If it's like something as simple as like, you know what I mean, you had to turn a lever or lever somewhere that was hidden in the room, I'll be stuck days. for it.
Because
but,
the
you know,
simplicity of it throws you off.
you know what I mean? It's like riddles. I've always been really good at riddles, never been really good at common sense, you know?
It is the least common of all the senses.
You're common. But, what? That's sad. Anything else? Anything captured your interest at all? What's been making them thumbs move?
Well, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII again.
That's a great game.
Because I did the recording for Final Fantasy IX for our last video.
I was watching that. I forgot how pretty that game was.
That game is so beautiful, and I want to play it again, but I never finished 7 again because I was doing 100% playthrough for 7, and I want to do that for 9 as well. But I was like, you know what, let me go back, finish up 7, and then I'll go do 9. But God, I love that game so much. And like, I know I say it all the time on this podcast. People are like, "Oh, you made it your enthusiast pick. Move on." But it's almost like it's like that woman you always think about. You know what I mean? That's the game for me. Final Fantasy IX is.
My wife listens to these podcasts, so no, I don't know what you mean.
Your wife could be the woman that you always think about. I'm just saying. It's the one that no matter what is stuck on your mind. When people bring up, like, whenever people ask me on the spot what's my favorite games of all time, like what's my top 5, I kind of draw a blank except for 2 games, which is Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy IX. Like, the other games really require me to think about it, because I do really like Mass Effect, but the problem is I only really loved the first one, and then they kind of went downhill. Metal Gear, I love 3, but, you know, every so often they have their hits and their misses. I think the first 3 are gold. But
Metal Gear,
even 4 was really good.
5, well, yeah, it's neither here nor
5
there.
you get for free this month
Really?
for PlayStation Plus. Yeah,
Well, too bad I own it 3 times.
I know.
I am a big Metal Gear fan.
But that's about it for me. Been playing a lot of Destiny still, getting gear and doing the raids and all that. What about you?
I started playing Last of Us. This is one of the few games that I own that ran in 4K. Really pretty, gorgeous game. But that would just hold me over until Thursday night when I went and got me a SNES Classic
Yes, I saw you went on an adventure.
Yes.
Posted some pics.
with some. I'm gonna, for the people that don't know what that is a Super Nintendo Classic, which fits in the palm of your hand and has, what is it, 22 games built in?
Yeah, it is less than the NES, but I would say that,
quality is so much more because the NES gave you ones no one asked for.
yeah, I would say the games that are on the Super NES, just about every game on there.
The only one I'm actually really disappointed with is Street Fighter, and not that they put Street Fighter on it, they didn't put Super Street Fighter on. That's what annoys me. You know what I mean? It's Street Fighter Turbo, when it's like, hey, one more and you could have had Super Street Fighter. But that's it. I feel like they have one of the best Castlevanias on there. They have the best Contra, in my opinion. Final Fantasy III, which I had so many fond memories with.
That's arguably the best Final Fantasy, actually.
Secret of Mana, which I really enjoyed. Going through all the RPGs, like, you know what I bought it for. Of course, Earthbound, which I feel the only thing I feel like they're missing, and it really drives me crazy.
Chrono Trigger.
Yes, that is the only thing. And granted, I have it on my DS. You know what I mean? And I have it on PlayStation still, but I was really upset that wasn't in there. And I kind of like when they have a couple other Square games in there. It's like, why
didn't you get Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
And you know what's weird to me? Square really doesn't acknowledge Chrono Trigger that much. Or even the Chrono series in general, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there is too.
Even Chrono Cross. I'm really curious if something went wrong with the licensing or something that they've just never decided to even... Because they're remaking Secret Mana for the PS4. That's going to come out in January. And it's shocking to me that Secret Mana, which is a really good RPG, don't get me wrong,
yeah.
it's not as good as Chrono Trigger, in my opinion. And some people would still argue today that Chrono Trigger is one of the best RPGs of all time.
Like I said, the sequel, Chrono
Chrono
Cross, is probably my second favorite RPG I've ever played. Probably I'd say my second favorite RPG. But yeah, you're right. But
it's just weird to me that they won't acknowledge it. And I'm curious if it's because, like, it's the first one, Chrono Trigger, is very reminiscent visually of Dragon Quest. And Dragon Quest really is a Square Enix flagship game. You know what I mean? Like, especially in Japan, it's ridiculous in Japan how popular Dragon Quest is.
ridiculous.
So I don't know if that has something to do with it.
But to go back, I did go on a journey. I went to Walmart, and you know how I feel about that place.
Ooh.
Anybody that works at Walmart, I'm not taking this saying it's your fault. I'm just saying, you know the quality of your store. You know what I mean? You know the quality of people that shop there. It's a really rough place. You know what I mean? So we're in there, and originally they provided us chairs to wait in. Because they're like, hey, a bunch of people came waiting in line, let's get you some chairs. So the assistant manager comes around, and I guess she hasn't got laid in a while, or she looked in the mirror recently, but she decided that we didn't need chairs. And apparently she was like, one of the other staff members said she was trying to call corporate all night and tried to get it so they wouldn't sell it till the morning time. Like, real angry woman. So either she hates Nintendo, like Nintendo killed her brother or something, or she hates nerds, or a nerdy Nintendo employee killed her brother.
Ooh. It could also be that she just doesn't like doing midnights because it brings traffic into her store, and when people are in the store, you have to do more work.
That's could be it too, but it really did.
I like your theory more instead.
Yeah. What I found comical though was they took the chairs, so some of the people opted to buy the chairs, so they could still sit down. I wasn't one of them. I'm not going to pay for this chair. What was funny though was the guy, 2 people behind me, bought the chair, bought his SNES, and then took it right to customer services and returned the chair and was like, "What are you gonna do?" Okay, and it receipt and everything. I just thought that was pretty funny.
That is actually really funny.
But I feel like, and maybe this is me going crazy, just the retail in me. They refuse to do a number system. And they refuse to do, you know, like just
Tickets.
Yeah, a ticket system. You have people in your store waiting for 5 hours. You were to give them a ticket, and they're not telling them they're not allowed to leave the store. You know how much money they would have spent in your actual store? Instead, you had us all sit in electronics for 5 hours. That all we could do was buy the $70 system that you are not even getting a kickback for because you don't make anything off of systems. Okay? So maybe I'm the crazy one now, but you know.
So let's talk about the Super NES real quick. The actual system. What do you think of it? Because it's really small.
It's tiny. It literally. I do have big hands, but it fits inside my hand. Like,
your 1-year-old ran off with it.
Yeah, he ran
which
off.
Shows how tiny it is.
Yeah, it's a really small system. The thing that annoys me about it is, you see how I like to keep everything around my TV real clean. I don't like wires showing anywhere. I like everything behind. Since it's so small and the controller's still wired in 2017, you have to sit right on top of it. And the only where I could run the wires where it made sense were alongside my TV. That really annoyed me.
That sucks.
And there's no way I could put it down near where like my other systems are, because then I wouldn't be able to sit where I want to play the game, because you literally have to sit Indian style in front of your TV to play this like it's, you know, 1992 again.
Yeah, I got to your house today and you were playing and you were literally right in front of the TV. You have a pretty big TV too now, so that probably also hurts your eyes.
Yeah, but the reason, I mean, I could have sat a little farther back, but the reason why I'm sitting there is they wanted this to be as authentic as they can, so there's no extra buttons on your SNES controller. So when you want to, because you can reset the game, you can save at any point, do a save point, or you can rewind, which I think is really cool. But the only way to do that function is hit the actual reset button on the system. So if I die and want to rewind, I have to get up and hit it. Well, that gets annoying, so I literally just started sitting in front of my TV like 5 inches away so I could just reach over and hit that button. Yeah. That's my complaints about it.
Well, we talked about it for a little bit. You don't like Star Fox 2.
Well, I was really disappointed with it.
A lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot of people, but I would say that that's probably one of the big sellers of the system.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get it, was to play this, because I love Star Fox.
Star Fox 2 never came out anywhere.
Yeah. And you saw anybody that said they played it, they played literally a beta version of it.
Yeah.
This is like the actual release game. They went and typed up all the dialogue, everything translated, like this is released. My complaints about it is you can't play it until you finish Star Fox 1.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Because, you know, but it's okay because I love Star Fox 1 and I had a blast playing it. The other complaint is, like I said, people probably can comment and disagree with me. I only played probably the first 15 minutes of it, but it was all in first person instead of third, and the aiming was just awful, and it felt off. It didn't feel like a Star Fox game.
Oh.
You know, so well, I'm gonna give it some more more time after I'm done playing what I've really bought the system for. Earthbound.
That actually was probably one of the big selling points for me to get it. Is Earthbound.
It has, to me, probably 4 of the best RPGs, and I mentioned all of them: Earthbound, Mario RPG, Secret of Mana, and Final Fantasy III. But Earthbound, it's been a while since I played that because I did not pick it up on the Wii U when they re-released it.
Yeah.
And I've decided to just wait until this came out to play it again. And I started playing again, and it's not lost any of its magic. It's still charming, still great. The dialogue is still hilarious. It's such a good game.
It is really good. Glad you're enjoying it.
I am. I love Ness. Me and him are little buddies. And it's so fun. I started playing, and like it literally just all these memories and emotions came rusting back. Like in the beginning when you're naming everybody, I just kept hitting do not care, so it would just name them for me, and I was like, I remember doing this as a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was steak. It's my favorite food. I remember like the dog, all you could always do is just hear his thoughts, and he was such a jerk. He didn't care. So it's an amazing game. It's really awesome. But besides that, not much. I'm doing that.
Oh, you know what? I was a little disappointed with something this week too, which we talked about for a little bit. The pricing for the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 controller, the Pro controller, went up,
Yeah.
and decided I'm not going to get one. But it's $75. I know it's only $5 more than a regular Pro controller, but it's just like $70 is like hard to spend sometimes already, where most of the other controllers are $60.
Yes.
And another $5 just
Just
kind of
really, it's salt in that open wound already.
yeah. Because to me, it's not $5; it's $15 more than a controller
Yeah.
that I could buy. Like PlayStation just went out and released the Crystal lineup of controllers. So they have like a clear red one, a clear blue, and a clear white, which I think look really cool. And I thought about getting one. Those are only $60. And it's like, man, I kind of rather just spend $60 on that than $65 or $75.
75, not even 65.
Yeah.
And I was mentioning in the car, I think it's really funny. That controller is literally more expensive than the system they just released.
Yeah.
Granted that, it's just a re-release of the SNES, but, it's just saying something. Now, with that being said, we've had this discussion before. They are high-quality controllers.
They are.
They are really nice. 75 is still asking a lot and it's that whole idea of Nintendo does not like losing money off of their actual products.
Yeah.
Where PlayStation will literally undercut their systems and their, supplies.
They
like
don't
that.
mind taking a loss
Yeah.
if they have to. Yeah, I just pre-ordered the collector's edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on Amazon. That's $100. Come with the art book, the soundtrack, all that goodies. That's because to me this is probably the big Switch game that I'm waiting for.
Mine's coming out next month.
Mario.
Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
See some Mario nipples.
Yeah, the same day that you're going to be playing Mario, I'll be playing Wolfenstein. Because Wolfenstein, Mario, and Assassin's Creed all come out the same day.
I'm not excited about Assassin's Creed.
I actually am excited about the new Assassin's Creed, but it's one of those things where I'm not super looking forward to it. I would say it's probably my second on the list. Mario's third.
You are a monster.
Yeah.
You sleep at night, sir.
I close my eyes, rest my head on a pillow, and dream of better things.
Terrible human being.
But let's get on to the news.
Right now, this music came out of nowhere. Scared a bunch of people.
It's usually what happens. It's so abruptive.
Yes.
You don't even realize it's going to happen.
It happens really quickly.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Super quickly
Because I'm a magician.
is when it happens. It is fantastic. I'm still not over it. I remember how we did it when we were doing the live reaction videos and you had ice cream up here in your hand. And it got brighter in the room. I was like, what sorcery is this? That is crazy.
I should go on Penn and Teller.
You just put that clip on. What? Ice cream? I was like,
the room's brighter.
oh, that was really good.
How did he do it?
It's pretty impressive, man. Pretty impressive. All we needed was a cloud in here. You know what I mean?
Speaking of clowns,
Whoa.
looks like It Chapter 2 is going to be coming in 2019.
That's right around the corner.
Kind of. September 6th, 2019.
That's pretty far.
Now, I kind of felt like this was a little bit... Not that hype's going to die down from the first one, because the movie was really good. I'm just a little concerned that waiting a year is going to make people go... You know, it's going to make them impatient, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like that's the proper amount for a sequel.
I just feel like it would have been smarter to record both back to back, or at the same time. You know, just do one full recording, release one this year, the next one next year, and it would have been good.
The issue with that, and the studios do opt to do that sometimes because it is a cheaper alternative. The issue with that is when it's a flop, it's the more expensive alternative because not only did you just get flop, you got 2 flops that are hands down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a tough thing, and it's very time consuming. Everyone knows the story. Superman 1 and 2 were meant to be filmed at the same time. In the middle of 2, they fired a director. They're like, it switched all of these things around, so it's not that easy to film movies back to back.
I can understand that.
I mean, for goodness sakes, it turned one of the Wachowski brothers into a woman.
I mean, look at Avatar. They're filming. Ooh, excuse me. They're filming all 5 movies in a row.
Are they really? I hate that film.
Yeah. That's why we're supposed to get like 2 of them 2 of them back to back. Then it takes a year gap before the next one, then another year gap, and then we get the last 2 back to back.
You know, movies we should never see again. Avatar, they're not good. But either way, I don't think this is too far out. I think, to be honest, I think it's relatively soon. My question is, do they have the idea where they go? Does that mean it's already like they know what they want?
Do they have the cast?
I mean, more than cast, the storyboard written out. You know, where we're going to film, what's going to happen, what direction they're going to go with. Because I think that's what made the first one so well was it felt like one complete story, and that was really nice. That movie had a beginning, had an end, and everything like that. So I want that, you know, closure to the second one as well. You know, I feel like this is a necessary second movie, but obviously we're gonna get it.
Okay.
So who do you want to see cast in this one?
I don't really want any big name actors.
Did you see that the kids all did their fantasy casting, who they wanted to play them?
No.
I thought it was pretty neat. Ben, the chubby kid, wants Chris Pratt to play him, which I thought was an amazing choice because Chris Pratt was chubby until like a couple years ago, so I thought it was a really good choice.
Yeah.
What's his face? The kid with the big glasses, Eddie with the mouth on him.
No. That was
Not
Richie.
Richie wants Bill Hader to play him, the comedian, which I actually really like the idea because in the original in 1990, the grown-up version of Richie 2 was a comedian at the time. So I thought that was actually a really genius idea. Let's see. I'm trying to remember everybody. Eddie, the crazy, scared...
the one that you'd like.
Yes. He wanted... Jake Gyllenhaal to play him grown up.
I like that.
I was like, okay.
I like Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor too.
Yes. Jewish kid, I think it was Henry.
Yes.
He wants Joseph Gordon-Levitt to play him. I hate him.
Really?
Oh, I love him to death. He's great, but my wife has like a Hollywood crush on him, so you know, I'm fighting him first time I ever see him. You know, and then real skinny, comb over, looks like he grows up to be Christian Glover kind of guy.
Billy,
the leader. He wants Christian Bale to play him.
Really?
But
I don't like that one.
I was like too old. I love Christian Bale. I do. I love him to death. Christian Bale's like 80 now.
Well, out of all the characters, like everyone else is kind of around the same age, actor-wise, except for Bill Hader. He's also, I think, a little too old.
Really?
You don't think so?
No.
Compared to Chris Pratt and Jake Gyllenhaal?
I guess. But I feel like those are pretty good.
What did the girl pick? Did she?
Oh, she did pick. I forgot. It was the redhead girl. You know what I mean?
Huh. Okay.
But, overall, the casting, I was like, that's actually pretty fun. I doubt, like you said, they'll get that caliber actor. And like I said, it'd be a shame if they did get that caliber actor. It'd be nice to go. Because that was the issue with the original, too. You had big actors come in and do it, like John Ritter and stuff like that. All those actors on their own were decent actors, but when you stick them all in the room with their egos and their style, one, they're not going to match the kids. They want to do their own thing, their own style. Now, Number two, they're not going to have chemistry like kids. These kids come in, they're relatively unknown, you know what I mean?
And they're kids.
And they're kids. They're going to have great chemistry on set because they're. Oh, you know what we forgot to? The black kid. What's the black kid's name?
Chris.
Chris?
Wasn't it Chris?
I don't remember. But he wants the guy who played Black Panther to play him.
Oh.
Which, of course, if you had a choice, I'd want a superhero to play me too. You know what I mean?
I'd like Ben Affleck. But I want him to be buff.
Yeah.
Don't let him change his body for this movie.
If they made an enthusiast movie, you get Ben Affleck. That'd be pretty
If
good.
we ever did do an enthusiast movie, I would want Ben Affleck to play
Okay.
me. Or Ryan Gosling.
I was gonna say that Ryan Gosling perfect, but I want Dwayne Johnson then. Okay.
Ooh.
Nobody but Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
But like I said, these kids had amazing chemistry because, like you said, they were kids, they were having fun, and these adult actors come in with their own style, their own views, and it's like, you know, you get that clash, and that's why a lot of times you get those movies where just chemistry's not there. So, and especially with a bigger cast, I always say you got very lucky with Avengers that all of them flowed so well together. Because then you have other movies that attempt that formula with huge cast and big actors, like Valentine's Day,
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. What was the other one?
Because, I mean, in Fast and Furious, Vin Diesel and The Rock have a hard time. They clash a lot, apparently.
And what was it? New Year's Eve. You had a bunch of big actors, but everybody came in with their ego. Those movies just don't work because it's like it never feels like anybody's film, but it feels like everybody's film at the same time. So I absolutely agree with you. I hope we just get a bunch of known actors
Yeah.
to play it. One of the funny things online I've seen is they want the original kids from the 1991 to play them now, since it's been technically 27 years. And I was like, okay, that'd be neat. One of the kids has passed away too. I think most of them aren't acting anymore. I think Seth Green is still relevant.
Yeah.
Besides that, all of them have kind of gone into obscurity, not really doing anything.
Yeah. That would be a bit hard now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a neat idea, but
Speaking of movies, though, that have come back around, Blade Runner.
Batista's in this.
Yeah.
So is Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
What's this? Jared Leto.
Jared Leto is in it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of big actors.
Big actors in this movie.
And what's funny, though, is Blade Runner, I think, is the movie people always wanted as a sequel, but when you thought about it, you were like, you know what, let's not touch it.
Well, we had mentioned the thing on this. What annoys me about this sequel already is it kind of ruins the mystique of the first one. At the end, it lives on that cliffhanger. Was he a replica or not? Now we know he's not. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the one disappointing thing about this sequel already.
But
Be like them making a remake or a sequel to Total Recall, and he wakes up from the dream like, oh man.
oh, you mean that's what? Wait, you mean Total Recall? I think I'm thinking of something else. I was thinking of God, the name. What's the movie? Leonardo DiCaprio.
Shutter Island.
No,
Inception.
Inception. Thank you.
That's a great movie too.
Yeah, I was thinking of that one.
Point being though, that's something I really do
Yeah.
love, ambiguous endings like that. And
Where it sparks the conversation. You know, people, whenever they're talking, you try to put the facts of the movie in and be like, hey, here's why he's not. You know, he is a clone or whatever.
Now, my question is, the original Blade Runner, as long as you see the right cut of it, because if you try the theatrical one with the narration from Harrison Ford, I'm sorry for you. Director cut is the only way to watch that film. But one of my favorite things about that movie is you never really get a clear bad guy in it. Like the replica at the end, you understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
You know? Everybody deserves an opportunity at life, you know, whether you were created or not. You know, and I always love that concept. And so my question to you, now it's a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming out nowadays. Do you think they're going to put those political tones in it?
Absolutely.
Do you think we're going to get that whole no black and white view, like you're really that emotional face? Because I kind of worry that sometimes with sequels, they kind of lose that magic of the first one. They try to appeal to today's audience.
Well, the reviews have come out for it, for Blade Runner. And that's part of why I wanted to talk about it. It's been getting amazing reviews.
You're amazing.
9.7 out of 10. They've been saying it already feels like a classic, like it's something that people are going to want to view. And it's one of those things where, you know, people didn't really expect it to be good, but it's living up to above the expectations.
Right.
So I'm really excited to see it. I haven't seen it myself. Obviously, you haven't either. I do think they're going to obviously do a good job with the political tones. I do also hope that, there isn't, everyone's in a gray hat rather than, there being a black and white. Except for Ryan Gosling. He should be in a white hat.
He is pretty good. I think if you're not recasting, but doing a new Harrison Ford of this one, because obviously Harrison Ford comes back as his character. But Ryan Gosling's a great choice for that. Something like that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's certain movies when they, for a sequel, bring another actor into it that they have some terrible choice in, and then sometimes you hit a home run like that. Ryan Gosling's a great choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Jared Leto's an actor that's really starting to blow up.
He, a lot of people win their Oscar and then, go into obscurity. He won his Oscar and was like, oh, do you think that's all I'm going to do? Hold my beer and watch this. So, good for
It's
him.
like, how many do I need to beat the record?
I've never been a fan of his band, but you know what?
30 Seconds to Mars?
But,
I like some of their stuff.
but I am a fan of the fact that he stole my heart already as the blonde-haired kid in Fight Club.
Who got the mess beat out of him
Yes.
by
or
Edward Norton.
or a transsexual in that Dallas Buyers Club, or the Joker. Whatever you want to be, buddy, I'll be with you. So, but like I said, to go back to that whole political thing, it makes me worried. I always go to Dumb and Dumber. To me, it was supposed to be dumb humor, but there was smart humor sprinkled into that movie. That's what made the first one such a classic. And Dumb and Dumber 2, that was just dumb humor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They took away everything that made the first one special. So that's why I always only worry about with these sequels that wait so long to come out. Because it's been how long since the first Blade Runner?
Oh, God. Over 20 years.
It's been over 30, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Man. Harrison Ford was young.
Yeah, good point.
I'm still really excited about that movie, though.
Yeah. Now, my question to you is, do you think the Oscars are going to recognize this movie? Because we know the Oscars, they don't like to give superhero movies credit. Even if a superhero movie is one of the best movies that come out in the year, they don't care. They're not going to nominate it for...
It took, Beauty and Beast before they even considered nominating animated films. Yeah.
And really, the only superhero movie to ever get an Oscar before was The Dark Knight, and really, I think most of that was because he died.
Yeah. And then even now, it's like anything that's won Oscar-wise, superhero movie-wise, has always been on effects, something like that.
Costume.
It's tough because I don't want to get too political in here, but the Oscar, all this Oscar buzz and all that, you gotta pay in to get part of that society, and you have to line the right pockets and all that. And Ripley Scott, I don't see him doing that kind of stuff, as a director.
Yeah.
He really likes to. I think he likes making films that speak to what he feels like is the audience needs to hear, a political topic. So I can't see, Oscar buzz over this movie, no matter how amazing it is.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of great things about the movie. So I was just curious thinking about it the other day. I was like, I wonder if this is something the Oscars, because I feel like it's not, but I was just curious if.
Well, I feel like, especially me and you, we've had this discussion before. Sometimes you can watch a movie and just know it was made to be Oscar, buzz. Like it's just Oscar bait all over it.
Most historical pieces.
As much as I love Birdman, that it was Oscar bait written all over that movie.
Yeah.
Every Michael Keaton line was like, I deserve this Oscar that you're not going to give me. Please. It's like, oh, right there.
Next up, Wolfenstein.
Doesn't this look good?
We got 30 minutes of gameplay footage.
And you're not impressed?
I am.
Okay, I was going to say,
Very
man.
impressed. Yeah. I like to sometimes make it sound like I'm not impressed so that people go, oh, great. Another thing he doesn't like.
I can see that. That's what most people approach me with. Like, man, the guy's a negative Nancy on there. Just kidding. Wolfenstein, it's been going strong for years, man.
Yeah.
Think about this. This game existed before either of us were born.
Well, what I'm going to say, I wouldn't say it's been going strong for years. The first one on PC was really well received. And then when they tried to bring it out on the 360, I heard that was a good game, but it just didn't sell well.
Oh, you're talking about the... well, there's Wolfenstein before that. The one for Xbox I loved.
I didn't remember the one for the regular
yeah,
Xbox,
no,
but I remember the one for the 360 wasn't very well received, didn't really sell well. But I will say this series that they're doing now, I think, is really good. And it feels really special. Especially the New Order alone was, in my opinion, still one of the best shooters I played on the PS4
I can say that.
to this day.
I really like the download content for, was it New Blood? Old Blood.
Yeah,
Wolfenstein
it is
Blood?
Old Blood because it's a New Order is
Yeah.
the regular game, and then Old Blood.
I really enjoyed that game too. Overall, though, I'm thinking this looks really good. Now, where do you think they're going story aspect-wise with this?
Oh, we're gonna take America back.
That's it.
Gotta get America.
No crazy. You don't think we're gonna get? To me, this looks like they're trying to do a throwback to the old PC game. I'm thinking we might get Hitler in a mech suit again, man. Mech suit. Just
See, now, I don't think we should get that yet, because here's what I'm thinking. I think, one, this is probably going to be a trilogy at least. I think Mech Suit Hitler is what you say for your final game. I think what this does, though, is lead to that. I do think that that's what the Colossus is for. You know what I mean? Like, Hitler wants them to make something for him, and the Colossus...
Because that's what I've always kind of been waiting for, is them to go back to the craziness of the original one. Like, you know what I mean? And today, people would lose their mind. But at the time, it was just like, yeah, Hitler was the ultimate bad guy. Put him in a mech suit and blow him up. That's what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they have done over-the-top things. Like, remember the giant mechanical dog that you fight?
Yes.
So they do some crazy stuff. The dogs that are the regular-sized dogs that are experimented on, and they put the mechanical parts on them.
Yeah.
A lot of it, though, the human stuff, none of them are really experimented on. They're in a lot of mech suits already, or smaller suits, because they're not really that big. Except you had one boss in the first game that had like that huge mech. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah.
Where you had to, what'd you have to do? Shoot the missiles or something?
I'm pretty sure.
Or launch missiles at him? I couldn't remember the fight, to be honest with you. But
Let's just play it again, man. We remember everything.
maybe.
Mhm.
Maybe. I really want you and me to play Cuphead together at some point.
Fair enough. So you think this is shaping up to be a trilogy?
I can tell you right now, if this one sells well, they're not going to stop.
That's my question. You think after this, they're going to, once again, reboot the franchise and go in a different direction?
I think you at least do 3, and then if the third one is still going strong, maybe then you can do some other things that are also weird. Like, did you play Far Cry?
Primal?
The Dragon one, the DLC, Blood
Yeah.
Dragon. That was a throwback to like the 80s. Everything was like or 70s. Everything was like neon light. It was really cool. It felt like a cheesy 80s action movie. I wouldn't mind if they kind of did something like that with Wolfenstein as well.
Gotcha.
But I mean, if you can keep it going, keep it going. You know what I mean? I think it's hard after you use Hitler at some point because you know he is the leader of the Nazi army.
Well, you could always start pulling some Stalin in there. He was worse, man. You know what I mean?
That's true. I mean, you could make it go from after we defeat the Nazis and take it back, then the Soviets start moving in. But you know, I would, as long as it's good, I'm okay with them keep going. I don't want them to keep going without a vision in mind, and then we start getting these weird games that's just like, who asked for this?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Like a zombie game set in the universe of Metal Gear Solid. You know, unnecessary. While we're on the subject of Far Cry, because you mentioned that, I've released some footage, 10 to 15 minutes of it. What'd you think?
Far Cry 5?
Yeah.
I've always...
You didn't put it on the notes.
I didn't. You're right. I actually forgot all about that.
Oh, I didn't.
I'm glad.
I watched it twice. I have a lot of compliments and a little complaints.
Okay. Visually, the game is beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
So stunning. And you can tell that, like, Far Cry 4 and Primal... Actually, not so much Primal, but 4 was really held back by the 360 and the PS3 because, man, when you look back at 4 and then you're looking at 5, visually it's...
Different game.
Yeah.
That was my issue. Now, the AI looked pretty dumb in this. Do you think it's because it's early? Or you think they're dumbing it down? Because I do realize sometimes, and I'm feeling this way, and it's just not Nintendo. Nintendo has been doing a lot of that. I feel like games are starting to dumb down for people, kind of, holding your hand, you know.
Yeah, well, okay, so here's the problem I think shooters have in general. I don't think in shooters AI has ever really been super smart. I think their way of making up for the dumb AI is just throwing more enemies at you, which I would much rather you just give me smart AI with less enemies.
Right. Somebody that's going to flank you.
Yeah.
Or duck and cover, you know what I mean? That's one thing I've always had trouble with shooters. And it's one thing I noticed here. It's like enemies always sit out and wait for you to shoot them.
Yeah.
Plenty of things to hide behind, but they're like, I'm right here, if you could. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when he walks in and he's like, there he is, and then he hits him with the arrow. If you didn't scream, there he is, you could have shot him right there. Ended film. You know, credits. But, I don't know, that's my only issue. And the other issue I have, dog, pretty cool, but that dog looked like he was taking out, he could take out the whole game for you.
The dog does look a bit overpowered.
So that's my only. With that being said, still a day one pickup for me. I'm excited for this, and this might be early things on that. But do you think adding the dog is too much? Should they have? Is there going to be limitations on the dog?
Well, they did say the dog can't die, so the dog cannot die, and I'm assuming that that's to help with the whole beast thing. I don't know why it matters. It's a digital dog, but I know the dog can get guns.
PETA attacked Pokemon. Never forget that. Okay.
They also attacked Assassin's Creed Black Flag for killing whales.
Okay.
But
whales actually exist. PETA attacked Pokemon. Have you ever seen a Pokemon in real life? That's because they don't exist. Okay? That organization got mad at the fighting of fictional creatures. Right? They probably watched Never Ending Story and saw you flying on the dragon dog thing. They're like, what is this?
I like your imitation of them.
Well, come on! Like he doesn't want to fly his own journeys. Jeez.
He has clearly enslaved that dragon.
Yeah.
But I think the game looks really good. I loved Far Cry 4. I platinumed it. I literally went and got
I
every
preferred
trophy.
Far Cry 3 over 4.
3 was better than 4. Especially the villain.
And this is what I'm hoping, besides the villain in 3. You know what I really liked about 3? Do you remember you could, blow up a barrel and, the wind would catch the fire and you could take an entire town out and just watch it burn while they all, run out and you pick them off one by one. It was so amazing. And I feel like 4, they got rid of some of them physics. You know what I
think
mean?
they focus more on visuals.
Yes.
Because they definitely did up the visual content, quality of the game. I think they focused so much on the visuals that they kind of just were they couldn't put that other stuff in and still have it run on the PS3.
But I guess so. But definitely 3's villain was a lot better than 4's.
Yeah. 5's villain is looking pretty good though.
Yeah.
A religious cultist.
The West Baptist Church. That's what I keep. That's what every time I see an over religious person, they're West Baptist Church.
But I'm excited for it. Definitely going to be
so
a day
excited
one
you
pickup.
didn't put it in the notes.
Yeah, it did slip my mind. I'm sorry. Something else that was a Western kind of took my attention.
Really? What could that be? Something special coming out?
Oh yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ooh, that first one was really good. I'm not going to give any spoilers away about that first one because it's so good. If you haven't played it, he dies. And, you got to finish that game. You take over as his son. And it's an amazing game, so I won't give any spoilers away. He dies, though, and you play as his son. So anyway, go ahead.
We got a trailer for part 2.
Finally.
And actually, yes, an actual trailer, not just a little still of some guys walking or the environment. We got to see some characters.
I feel like also in this trailer it gives the kind of vibe of his, and I kind of feel a Grand Theft Auto 5 vibe a little bit in it.
I am too. So here's what I will say. Acting is really good.
Oh, it's Rockstar.
Visuals, Rockstar, I think, just kicked things to another level. I'm not going to say it's the best looking game on the PS4,
No.
but it's definitely the best third party game.
It looks like it's feasible to run in the engine they got, and it looks amazing for that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you get that trailer and you're like, I don't really think it's running in that engine. This actually looks like this could get released tomorrow and work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I still think Horizon is probably one of the best looking games.
Absolutely. Uncharted 4.
Yeah. Anything that's first party is going to look better, and that's strictly because, if they're running only on that console, they don't have to worry about their the Xbox or anything like that.
It's doing that stupid Xbox, homepage with the
But,
45 pages.
I was pretty impressed with the trailer. Visually, I like the acting. A little disappointed that there was no gameplay. And I'm curious as to if those were cutscenes that we were seeing, and I want to know if the game is going to look as good while I'm playing it as those cutscenes look.
Okay, I can see that.
Because GTA 5...
Well, I will say that Rockstar has always been really known to do all their cutscenes in real time and in-game.
Yeah.
That was the glitch everybody kept doing in Grand Theft Auto 5. If you were chased by the cops and went into a cutscene, cops would continuously shoot at you while the cutscene was running on. You know what I mean? So, I can see. I definitely think it's gonna look that good, the gameplay wise.
Okay.
Um,
Any characters that stuck out to you that you're kind of excited for? I know that Sony apparently has a deal with Resident Evil. I mean, not Resident Evil. Jesus, Red Dead Redemption.
getting me excited there for a minute.
They have a deal with Rockstar because technically Rockstar owes Sony a exclusive. They were supposed to release an exclusive back on the PS3, never came out. Now I know Red Dead isn't going to be an exclusive, but they do have some sort of deal with Red Dead. I don't know if it's going to be like story mode content or what. I did not know that they were going to put Sam from Uncharted in the game. That's sarcasm. They didn't. But the main character of that trailer,
I can see that.
put a cowboy hat on Sam.
Yeah.
That's Sam. Come on, man.
You know what I'm actually really curious about is, you know how in Red Dead, Grand Theft Auto 5, there was that character that was obviously the great-great-great-grandson of the character from Red Dead?
Yeah.
The Bigfoot hunter, the whole thing. I'm wondering if they're going to do that kind of joke again, because I really like that, you know what I mean? How they're all kind of the same universe
Yeah.
kind of thing. So,
Now, do you think, how many characters is this? 7 for this game?
yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's going to be like GTA, where if you're by yourself, you can hop between all the characters? Because we do know that there's a social aspect to the game. My assumption is that all 7 characters can probably be played as a friend. I'm assuming it has co-op up to 7 people.
Could be.
Maybe it doesn't. That's just, they haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah.
What the social aspect is.
Could be just online play up to 7. You never know. That'd be cool though, to have the ability to switch back and forth between all 7 and still be real time. Like, you know what I mean? There's nothing better than switching over to Trevor and
Seeing the weird thing.
Yeah.
You wake up in your underwear and you're like, what was he doing?
I woke up in a dress in a field and he was like, "Oh, that's the last time I had tequila." I was like, "What?"
It almost makes you wonder what you missed.
Yes, but yeah, I think they hit something really good with 5, and I feel like if you copy that formula and give us more characters, that'd be amazing, and be able to run into them in
Yeah.
different roles, especially if you put them in different towns too. Oh,
See, what's amazing to me is I love Red Dead Redemption. I'm not a big Grand Theft Auto fan.
Okay.
I respect the games for what they do. I know why people love them. I'm just not a big fan. I personally find like the setting to be a bit
do you
boring.
like sandbox games?
I don't really like open world games too much. There are some I do really like, some I don't. My problem with Grand Theft Auto is that it's so in reality. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like I like to escape the things that I'm already around, but to do things I can't do in real life. And GTA kind of just makes me feel like more of what I'm already doing. But I love Red Dead because I can't be a cowboy.
I mean, you could. People
Yeah.
just stare at you like you're crazy.
Now, do you think this is going to sell as well as GTA? Because Red Dead has never sold as well as GTA. The first one did really well, but it
Is
never...
it going to get GTA numbers? No. Is it going to do better than Red Dead 1? Absolutely. I think so, because I'm excited about Red Dead, and I wasn't excited about the first one when it was coming out.
Oh, I was so excited for the first one.
But I'm just saying, word of mouth eventually got me to play it, and then to the point where I was like, what did I miss? I didn't play Red Dead until they released the Rockstar Collection that came with LA Noire, Grand Theft Auto, and Red Dead. That's the first time I ever played that. And then I slapped myself in the face in the mirror because how amazing that game was. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I got Red Dead. So, I used to be really anti-Rockstar. I hated GTA 3. I liked San
3?
I hated Grand Theft Auto 3.
with Cloud Speed,
Yep, didn't like 3. I didn't like Vice City.
with the leather jacket zipped up.
Yes.
You didn't like Tommy in Vice City?
Nope.
He was played by Ray Liotta.
I liked San Andreas until I had to constantly work out because once I stepped out of the gym, my muscles started depleting instantly.
Hey CJ, I got an idea. How about you drive? You ain't doing nothing, CJ. How about you drive? Hey CJ, I'm hungry as hell. How about you drive? How about we just assuming I drive, okay? How about that?
I didn't like 4.
Nobody likes Ford.
And I actually did like 5. I think 5 was the one, while I'm not a GTA fan, I played 5 and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Even for someone who doesn't like the series, I can see why people like it.
Well, I honestly feel like my big issue with 4 was it got too into realism. Like 4 was, and I always say that 4 has 2 different endings. Both suck. Okay? I understand it's supposed to be a real world thing, but if I'm playing a game, please let me have a happy ending. I think what really made 5 nice was it went back to that craziness of 3 Vice City and
Especially with Trevor.
Trevor and, big explosions, driving through tunnels.
That personally was always my only problem with 5. And I want to get back to Red Dead after this because we're trying to talk about that. But I didn't, and that's probably one of my worries with Red Dead. I had 2 characters that I really liked, 1 I didn't like. So when I was forced to play the one I didn't like to progress the story, it kind of always felt.
Which one's the one you didn't like?
I actually didn't like Franklin.
You racist.
And it's not because he's black.
He was my favorite character.
His story got better towards the end, but in the very beginning, I felt he was just the boring one. When you compare it to Mike, and especially Trevor. Trevor was my favorite. But whenever I had to go back to Franklin, I was like, man, this guy is so boring. I got to go chase after a Rottweiler. It wasn't entertaining. Rottweiler, whatever.
Rottweiler. Rot. Okay.
Like a rot.
Like you're rotting. Yes.
Gotcha.
What you just said, I don't know. Ruff.
I said Rottweiler.
DMX over here.
But,
what you really want?
But that's probably one of my fears with Red Dead if I do have to play as 7 characters. What if I like 4 of them, hate 3 of them?
I feel like you're always going to take that chance with multiple characters, because even then, like I said, Michael was a character I could care less about. And,
yeah, Mike was yours.
Yeah, and I loved Franklin, but you know what I mean? You take that chance. But I think overall what makes a game special is that if you'll play through that character to get back to the one you like so much. So you're always going to take that chance. Just like I love Grand Theft Autos, but they all have them stupid missions in the game. And even Red Dead did this, where I'm like, I know the developers didn't even like doing this. Why they?
I agree with the first Red Dead.
Why? Yeah.
But I think that 5, they really hit their mark with even the side missions in 5 were pretty interesting. I'm hoping they take that over to Red Dead 2. You know what else I hope they keep in Red Dead 2? The fact that your main character in Red Dead 2 was married, and he was like actually a faithful guy.
Yeah. Oh no, man, Mike wouldn't like that. Yeah, I didn't appreciate that. Too.
Yeah.
It was a little grace of a good guy.
Yeah.
In such an outlaw world.
Yeah, I really appreciated it. And I know like some people are like, oh, well that's dumb because I wanted to go to some brothels. It's like, well, in this one there's 7 characters. If there is 7 characters that you can play as, cool. You have that option still, I'm sure, with some of them.
Yeah.
But I did like that that he was really just for his family and his wife.
Yep, until he dies. I can't tell you that because spoilers.
But let's move on. What else did we have? One more thing. Do you enjoy streaming Nintendo? Well, you don't stream Nintendo. But Nintendo actually is one of the hardest people to get content on YouTube and the internet for.
Yes, they always pull it off.
Yeah.
Always have people take YouTube videos, which is always surprising to me because, like, I follow a few people that talk about Nintendo products, and they literally will have people talking about how amazing the game is and get it removed. Like, them complimenting their game. Pokemon Sun and Moon were fantastic. Copyright infringement. Take it off. Take it off now.
Now, I think that I'm pretty sure I know why Nintendo does it. I don't agree with it. In their mind, if someone's going to watch the game, they're not going to go out and buy it because they can experience the game through someone else playing it. I actually think that it's free advertisement, and that sometimes one of the things that make me want to buy a game is watching someone else play it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now we're in a universe where we're in a world actually where I don't have to go to my friend's house to watch the game being played. I can just watch it online.
Absolutely, because you can always hear, you can read a review in a magazine or anything like that. You can even hear a review online, but watching the actual gameplay makes a difference sometimes. I've had a friend of ours buy a game based off of watching the gameplay on our videos here of a game we did.
Really?
He had never heard of, just watched you play it. It's like, well, I'm really interested. You know what I mean? That makes a difference sometimes.
Yeah. Especially with like a good example of this for me is like Grand Theft Auto. When I was younger, Grand Theft Auto always got 10s. So in my head, I was like, this has to be really good. I gotta buy it. I would get it and still be disappointed because like it just didn't play how I wanted it to play, or never felt like it deserved a 10 to me. Same thing with Breath of the Wild. Going into Breath of the Wild, I had my worries. The world felt empty. I just felt like there wasn't going to be enough to do. I get the game, and come to find out those things were true for me. I get it that some people really love that game.
Love that game.
That's fine. But I do think that, being able to watch people play a game and being able to see the different things that you can do in games is also important.
I'll take it back just a few years ago. Watch Dogs 1 was coming out. I was really into that game. The reviews were pretty solid for it. And I didn't look up much on it, just read a couple of reviews for it, picked it up, and I was severely disappointed. It was a Grand Theft Auto clone. You know what I mean? That's all it was. And I was expecting more from Assassin's Creed.
Just set in modern day.
Yeah, so I was really disappointed with it. And, so that's just something that could have easily been avoided. Or maybe that's what they're worried about. Maybe they're worried about somebody see something in gameplay they don't like and I get it. Either way, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, because technically the company doesn't care if you don't like their game if you buy it. They already got your money.
Yeah.
But I can see as to how, because Mario game, like most Nintendo games do this to me, and it's not a knock on Nintendo. I get why people love Nintendo. It's for the gameplay. And I'm not going to say Nintendo's not the king of gameplay. They are. But I search for more now in games than just gameplay. Mario Odyssey I know is going to probably get 10s or really good scores. And when I see stuff like that, it tempts me to go get it. You know what I mean? Like Mario Rabbids didn't score really well, but
it was like a 7.5.
Yeah, it scored well enough that it intrigued.
Especially for a first time anything, yeah.
And I went and I got it, and I enjoyed for what it was, but it was lacking a few things that I think really could have made it better. But that's neither here nor there, and I think that that's what's going to happen with Mario. I'm going to see the scores Mario Odyssey gets. I'm going to pick it up because that's what I'm going to end up doing, and then I'm going to be a little disappointed with the game. Maybe I'll pick it up and I'll be super happy with what it is, but I rather right now my expectations be low, and then be excited than to be excited and then be let down like what happened with me and Zelda. The Fable.
I still think it's weird, like a day and age thing, but you know how I feel about patents and ownership and stuff like that. I just think it's like the same concept, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody should have a right to, come up with an idea and everybody puts their own take and everything like that. Hey, it's neither here nor there.
But I do think it's a little annoying that Nintendo doesn't. So anyway, but now Nintendo.
Back to what we were saying.
Nintendo now you cannot stream any of their games at all on YouTube. You can only make a video and post it, but you cannot live stream it at all. So if you ever want to show someone, only Nintendo can do it themselves now. So the Nintendo Treehouse, if they do that live or the Nintendo Directs live, you can watch that on YouTube. But if you and I wanted to stream Mario Odyssey when it came out, we're not able to.
Terrible people. That makes me wonder. I was having trouble when the Treehouse was announced, when they announced all these huge games finally on YouTube. I kept getting like no longer available and stuff like that. Is this why?
Probably.
Why would you want to do your free advertisements? I'm sorry, Nintendo. I really didn't mean it so lovely. Forgive me for talking ill of you. I'll take that. That's fine.
Yeah. That's about it.
The news was a little short today, man.
Yeah.
Very opinionated, though.
Yeah, we dragged it out. Still got an hour out of this.
I still haven't come up with my pick yet.
You haven't.
Alright. Now I know what you're thinking. Obviously, he's going to recommend the SNES. I'm not going to recommend it. Nope. Honestly, I was thinking about recommending the SNES, but that's not for everybody. It really isn't. If you are not into nostalgia like that, you're not going to like it. If you don't get a cheap laugh out of, like, oh, I got to sit Indian style in front of my TV and actually get up and hit reset, you're going to hate the thing, okay? That is honestly for fanboys of Nintendo and people that wanted to play these games again that never heard of an emulator. You know what I mean? Now, granted, this is the highest quality you're going to be able to get them games in, but still. So my recommendation is something that I was just going through cleaning out the other day and I found it. It was the Tomb Raider trilogy, the original games for PlayStation.
Ooh.
I'm going to recommend those three. Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3. 3 was the most disappointing. Still a very great game in my opinion. Tomb Raider 1 and 2 to this day are one of the best story-wise, one of the best gameplay, and I recently played it on the Vita, and Tomb Raider 1 still lived up to how amazing I remembered it. So I recommend it. And for those who are like, you know what? I like Tomb Raider, but I like my Lara Croft looking good. Not pixelated or boxy or anything like that. They made a remake of Tomb Raider 1, and it's just as good on the 360. So if you can hunt that down, just another recommendation.
All I'm going to say is, #bring back diamond boobs.
#bring back diamond boobs. And you know the best part about playing these original games with these amazing stories is it will get the bad taste of those movies out of your mouth, and the bad taste that this new movie is most likely going to leave in your mouth. Why? It's not hard. They're not difficult stories like to translate to. Like the first game.
You know how much money it would take to put a dinosaur on screen?
I don't know. It happened in '93. How much did it cost? I'm just saying the first game. Like think about it this way. I don't want to ruin the first. The first game, you're literally looking for pieces of the keys to Atlantis. You know what I mean? It gets a little more complex than that. You had that amazing story though, and they were like, you know what? The first movie, we're going to look for a piece of a meteorite that was never in the games. And then the second movie, we're going to look for, what were they, the Fountain of Youth?
Yeah,
Which
so.
was never in any of the games. Why? Why?
I don't know.
Why?
Hollywood just doesn't seem to get what it is about these video game movies. And the worst part is it's almost like comics. You have the resources there. You know what I mean?
Great stories. What is it about video games that just don't translate well to film? Why is it that they take these liberal what's the word I'm looking for? Liberties. Like one of the prime examples was Doom. That first person view in that movie was awesome. Besides that movie was butt cheek.
When it did do the first person mode for a little bit, I was like, what is going on?
But even that, the game's about they by mistake open a portal to hell on Mars. Pretty simple concept. Terrifying. Like, what would you do? You're not going to close it. What's going on? Very scary. They make it alien genetic forms that's in your body dormant. And then we're like, why? You had a simple story. Why did you overcomplicate it?
Yeah.
Do you think people are going to come in and be like, this is just like a game. I'm leaving. Like, what? Why? Why? Why hasn't Grand Theft Auto been turned into a movie?
Grand Theft Auto is already pretty cinematic, I would say.
Why hasn't Tetris been turned into a movie?
It's turning into a movie.
Is it really?
Yeah, they're making a Tetris movie.
Is it gonna be a horror movie? Can you imagine?
I don't know.
They're like in a pyramid. The pieces come down, and every time it's getting closer, somebody do.
No, what I hope it is a man's losing Tetris, and every time you see a piece, you're on the edge of your seat to know if he loses or if he figures out.
That is.
You know what I think would be cool for a Tetris movie? If they did an interactive movie where we all had like a little pin pad, and we got to pick where the pieces went. The movie's as long as you guys can keep playing.
That's interesting. Let's see. If you know what? Look, stretch this out 10 more seconds. If you could pick any franchise and turn it into a movie, what would it be? Game-wise. Take any game you've ever played. You get to pick the cast. You get whatever budget you need, whatever resources you can make this film the way you want to. What do you think you could translate to film better than any director has attempted?
My go-to in my head is The Last of Us. I'm not going to go there, though.
That's a little too easy. We've
It
seen it
is.
done already. It's
The
called
Road.
Logan. Oh man, we didn't even do that on purpose. That
No,
worked
I
out.
like how we both said two completely different movies. Video game translated into a movie, unlimited budget, the first Mass Effect.
That would actually be really good.
You know why? I have unlimited resources. Oh, this is getting done.
You filmed it in space.
First movie to actually be filmed.
in outer space. I can see that being done well.
And one of the alien races will be real.
You're actually gonna get
Not CGI. Only one, though. I'm not going to tell you which one's the real
You're
one.
gonna hunt down an actual alien or create something. I've always thought about it too, and I'm gonna go with what I always wanted to do. And we just talked about recently. We feel like it's almost kind of been done. Earthbound. I've always wanted to turn that into a live action film.
Yeah.
And I feel like Stranger Things has already kind of done that.
It is really close to it.
But that's the one I always kind of wanted to do, and always wanted to see a well-done Legend of Zelda film. You know what I mean? And I feel like in a world that we live in where things like Lord of the Rings existed and looked amazing, you could do an amazing Legend of Zelda film.
Yeah.
Maybe Link should talk in it, you know what I mean?
No, just upset fans.
Probably.
I mean, we just got a game where everyone was voice acted horribly, and Link didn't talk still.
Yeah. Which made it super awkward because they were talking to him and
It was super
At
awkward.
least talk about he's mute or something, you know? Because it did.
Well, the worst part is they reference in the game that he's spoken to the princess before.
Yeah. I don't. Why is it you think they've always been so afraid to cast Link? Because Mario's got a voice, Luigi's got a voice, Mario, Fox McCloud, every other Nintendo character, even Kirby said lines, and he's a pink ball.
Hi!
Yeah, like, what is it about Link? Do you think that?
I honestly think they're just afraid of fan reaction. Because Mario, he got a voice very early. You know what I mean?
People think the debut was 64. It was actually on the Super Nintendo. He did a voice for the educating game on there.
Oh.
That was the first time he ever did the voice. So I often wondered why Link has still not got a voice, and I feel like you remember every JRPG when we were growing up. And as much as me and you love JRPGs, and for those who don't know what JRPGs are, it's Japan role-playing games. As much as we love JRPGs, every single one followed the same formula back in the day.
Yeah.
And you always got that real generic character, so you can project yourself onto them.
Yeah.
I mean,
You also gave them a voice. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because you read all the text back then. Link has never spoken.
But that's my question. Do you think that's why Nintendo is they want us to identify as them? And if that's the case, why make him? So he's always kind of had that same look of blonde. With the,
Why not at least let me
Yeah.
customize what my Link looks like?
You mean, and you could always like one of the things they did for Little Mac is they made his complexion. He could be Italian, Spanish. You know what I mean? You could translate yourself to Little Mac because like Link, he's a blonde hair, high roll looking guy, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm not too sure to be honest. And it's weird that they don't at least even go the Half-Life route, where they tell you that the main character in Half-Life is mute. You know, he can't talk. So I'm surprised that they at least just don't do that. But that would be hard because every Link isn't the same in Zelda.
no.
So it's kind of hard to be like, oh, Link's a mute, that's why he never talks. It's like, every generation of a Link is a mute?
It's just been
What is wrong with their sperm?
You know what I mean? A lot of inbreeding there, man. I don't know what's going on. So, and I do love Legend of Zelda. You know, it's my favorite. Wind Waker is like my favorite game of all time. I think it's that's always been my complaint about Legend of Zelda. Especially, we're in 2017. That game came out in 1987. You know what I mean? That's 30 years old by this point. And not one time, besides that crappy Famicom thing, did you ever think to give Link a voice?
Yeah.
Or was it that show in the 90s that killed him? Well, excuse me, princess.
He said that line multiple times every episode.
Oh, that show was so bad. So bad.
But, alright, you know what? That's pretty much for this episode.
Yeah, man, we went on a little bit about voices.
Yeah.
But you go ahead and follow us on that Twitter, SoundCloud, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and our new website,
Our website.
theenthusiast.net.
Yes.
When you type that in, this beautiful picture will come up of me and Zavos here too. And it looks amazing. Once again, that is a nice website.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I noticed you never responded. I showed you that was my new background on my computer at work, and you never responded back to that text.
I never got that.
Oh, sure you didn't, buddy.
I didn't.
We're going to be live on the air when I prove him wrong, right here, right now. I'm going in right now, going in messages.
Yeah, I see it.
I will. Have you? Nope. Okay, you're in here, so don't you run. Don't you run. That's getting weird now. I thought you were gonna be right up here because you texted me today. Now I can't find you.
Maybe someone deletes my text message.
Maybe.
Oh, Zappo texts me, delete.
Delete not happening. Delete not. There it is. Oh, found you.
Alright.
Found you. Okay. September 20th, 3:46 p.m.
Holy shit.
Did not go through. Darn it.
Ooh, victory!
Well, I'm retrying that right now. And now you got no excuse to send it back to you.
Yeah, but check out our website. Super nice. We do news constantly on there as well. Usually we do cover those topics on the podcast, So we kind of leave the news on there open, but we do inform you of a couple things on there as well.
There's an option to go ahead and send us some mail or let us get to know you. You can leave your name and we'll respond back to you. We're not proud. We'll beg. So, do what you got to do. Please.
Oh, one more thing that we would like to announce. Not set in stone just yet, I would assume, but we may be doing a comic convention where we'll have a panel.
Woo! Are you going to wear something nice?
Maybe.
Everything I wear is nice.
Maybe we can do a tuxedo thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Or a tuxedo t-shirt.
Ooh,
know
that
what I mean?
says we're here on business, but we came to party.
If you like this video, which obviously you did, because you made it through the entire thing, go ahead and hit that like button and like it because it's amazing. If you didn't like this video, well, be sarcastic and hit that like button.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really show us who's
Really
boss.
just hurt our feelings. Matter of fact, go ahead and watch the video like 100 times to really stick it to us. Because, man, does that hurt. But, and if you liked it, go ahead and watch it as many times as you like too. Around 1,000, something crazy happens. I'm not going to tell you.
Ooh.
You have to find out.
I'm
yourself.
surprised you actually even put that in there.
Oops.
I don't like to tell people that there's a thing when you hit 1,000.
Yeah, it's an accident,
Yeah.
but, you know what I mean? Good luck. I mean, oops.
Each one of our videos kind of has it in there, but
You know. Who knows? Who knows?
But-
Maybe it's a little monkey that crawls out of your printer and hands you $1. Maybe. I don't know. Right?
maybe you're gonna poop ice cream.
All right. You never know, okay? Maybe Sonic the Hedgehog himself will come out and pound you. I don't know.
Ooh. Oh, I do like it as your background.
Thank
It
you.
looks good. Thank you. Well, all right. This has been episode 43 of The Enthusiasts, and we are gone.
Peace.
Yes, good. Now you're getting it.